I don't know about you, but so much business advice out there makes me feel like I should be doing more all the time, so much more. And if you have not encountered me before, you should know that I feel like that is typically garbage advice. Most business owners that I talk to and that I've worked with don't need to be doing more. They need to be focusing on the right things. They need to be focusing on tasks and projects that are moving them forward towards the goals that they are trying to achieve. And the times where I have been able to make a significant shift in my business have been the times where I have stopped doing things that no longer serve me, that are no longer moving me forward to where I want to be. And today I want to share with you 3 things that I stopped doing that made my business so much easier. If you don't know me, my name is Kayla Droog, and I teach service-based business owners to create simple, sustainable systems that actually work for them and their way of doing things so that they can focus on their clients and doing the things that they love. So, as I mentioned before, doing more in your business does not mean better. Doing more typically does not mean that your business is getting any easier either. The number of clients that you have or projects that you have on the go, it depends what kind of services you have. That doesn't necessarily dictate how busy or easy your business is either. What you choose to focus on, the way that you approach or structure your projects and your tasks and the things that you're working on, the systems that you implement in your business to support you and support your work and support your clients. Those are the things that really matter. Those are the things that are going to make the biggest difference in making your business feel easier to run. When I was much younger and more naive and early on in my business and doing things the way I thought I should be doing them instead of thinking them through for myself and figuring out what worked for me, I was making things way harder on myself than I needed to be. I was taking on an invisible mental load that I didn't need to be, that was making things harder. And so the 3 things that I stopped doing, mostly, it's not a perfect process. It takes time to unlearn some of these things. But the 3 things that I stopped doing decreased that mental load, which makes so much difference in your business, and you don't even notice that it is happening. The days that are the most taxing in my business are not necessarily the days where I have the most amount of stuff to do. It's the emotional labor, the mental labor. So those could be days where the number of hours are shorter, but it takes maybe more energy to deal with those things and manage those things. So here are the things that I did to reduce that load. The first thing that I did was I realized that good customer service is not the same thing as being a people pleaser. I am very much a recovering people pleaser, and this was so hard for me to do. It took me the first few years of being in business to really wrap my mind around this, because I figured that the way to keep my clients happy, to keep them sticking around and coming back and paying me more and raving about me to other people and recommending me, was to bend over backwards for them as much as possible. So I would answer notifications as quickly as I could. I was answering things in the evenings and on weekends. There were times where I took Saturday morning meetings. There were times where I was jumping on tasks as soon as they came in and doing not just same day turnaround, but like same hour turnaround. And I was exhausted. I was burning out. It was not sustainable. It worked when I had my first handful of one-on-one clients, and it wasn't too bad to kind of stay on top of the things coming in from them on a day-to-day basis. But as I started to get more clients and get more complicated projects and things like that, it just wasn't sustainable to be constantly answering emails and texts and jumping on tasks as soon as they came in. And even though in my contract, I had never stated that that was the turnaround time, that was the communication time, I had trained my clients to expect that. So when I started pulling back to the still very good level of service that was laid out in my contract, it started to feel to them like I wasn't delivering, like they were getting poor service, even though they were just getting standard service, because I had been people pleasing for so long. And when I was able to make that shift to set some of those expectations, it made my life easier. It made running my business easier. It actually improved the level of service that I was able to offer for people, because I was not burning myself out and spending all my time on one person. I was able to distribute my attention over everybody. And, I didn't have to take time off to recover from pushing myself so hard. So I was able to make my business more consistent and sustainable. I realized that boundaries are there to support both you and your clients. And when there are clear expectations and a clear way that things work, it just makes everything run so much more smoothly for everybody. So when I started implementing boundaries and systemizing my business, everything just got smoother and clearer, and clients were happy, and I didn't have to keep my phone on the evenings and weekends in order to make them happy. The next thing that I let go of to make my business easier was trying to force myself into systems and ways of doing things that didn't work for me. So I have tried so many things to help me be more productive and stay more on top of my tasks and get things done. And there are many things that just didn't work for me. And when I tried pushing, it made it worse. And there are things that only work for me sometimes. And figuring that out and figuring out how to lean into that instead of forcing myself made things so much better. So, for example, I have tried time blocking. That is absolutely never, ever going to work for me personally. If it works for you, fantastic. I'm not knocking time blocking. I'm just saying my brain hates it. It doesn't work for me, and that's okay. I have tried things like the Pomodoro method. That doesn't typically work for me because having to stop when I have finally gotten into the flow on something, no thank you. So I have to really find the things that work for me through trial and error. So sometimes using a project management platform like ClickUp or Asana works for me temporarily or works for me for certain types of projects. And then maybe next week or next month, it doesn't. I have to rotate through things. I have spent money on things that didn't work for me. And it has been an ongoing process to realize that I don't have to fit the systems have to fit me. And if they don't work for me, that is not a failing on my part. It just means this is not the right thing for me. So just because people rave about a certain platform or a certain way of doing things, just because it works for them, that's fantastic. It doesn't mean that it needs to work for you. So if I try something and it doesn't work, then I let it go and I don't feel bad about it. And I don't keep trying to force it. And this is how I approach systems with all of my clients now. So I do not force a client to use a particular platform. If you are following a framework of setting up systems, it shouldn't matter which platform you are using because the roadmap should remain the same. So it is important to pick a platform that makes sense to you and your brain and has the features that you need, rather than trying to force something to be what you need. And then the final thing that I let go of that has made a huge difference in my life is the need to follow traditional work norms. So, like many business owners, I came from a corporate type career for many years before I started my own business. And even though logically I knew that I can do whatever I want, I still felt very locked in to that idea that between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I should be working. I should be putting in X number of hours per week, or I'm not being productive enough. And I still have times where if I'm out of the office in the middle of the day on a weekday, I still have that thought that I am somehow playing hooky. But what made a big difference for me is realizing that, again, the structure of my work day and my work week should fit me and not the other way around. So then I started structuring things based on the times of day and the situations that I am personally most productive, and following my energy patterns in a given day and a given week, and really just giving myself some slack because I have varying capacity from day to day, and it is not always predictable. And if I force myself to a level of productivity that does not fit the energy level that I have on a given day, I am not going to produce good work. And when I stopped trying to force myself to do things on a particular schedule or to put in a certain number of hours of work per day, my productivity actually went up. So if I have a day where I'm not feeling well in the morning and I have a slow start to work, but maybe I feel better in the afternoon and I have a higher energy level in the evening and I am able to actually focus and get some things done in the evening that I wasn't able to get done earlier in the day, fantastic. And then the next day, if my highest level of productivity is between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and I need to take time off after that to do other things, that's okay. So I've really leaned into the fact that it does not matter when my work gets done, when I need to take breaks, as long as I am in a meeting when I say I'm going to be, as long as my work gets done on time. How that happens doesn't matter. I can do what I need to do, work at the times that work for me, take breaks when I need to, stop forcing myself to push through when I'm hitting a wall or it is a day where my body is just not cooperating. And as I said, I think that has been the thing that has made the most difference, is leaning into my body, my capacity, the number of spoons I have on a given day, if you're familiar with spoon theory. And that has allowed me to be more productive in less time because I am not forcing myself to continue to try to get stuff done when I am not in a headspace or an energy space to do it. So it has been an ongoing process that's still ongoing of defining what productivity and rest and structure and success mean for me. They're not going to mean the same thing that they mean to you, and that's okay. But unlearning what I think they should mean to me and figuring out what they actually are for me has been I don't know, life-changing seems too grandiose, but it has made a significant difference in my life. And setting up systems and processes that support me when I have days where my capacity is lower has also helped to keep things more consistent and organized and to keep me going. So let me know about you. Is there something that you have let go of in your own business that has made things easier and made a difference for you? Or is this something that you are working on? Maybe something I said in this video sparked something that you might be able to start letting go of in your own business. Let me know down in the comments. If you are working on getting better, more supportive systems in your own business and you want some insight into the do's and don'ts and a simple process that you can follow, I am hosting a free workshop all about business systems and how to get them set up faster and easier. The information for that is down in the description. And if you liked today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe, share it with someone who would benefit from it, and I will see you soon.